looking for ways to really boost your English fluency and confidence, especially when it comes to speaking, right? And you're probably searching for effective methods that, don't break the bank.
Exactly. And today we're digging into a recent conversation that highlighted some pretty powerful insights. We're talking about how modern AI tools and some smart learning strategies can offer a really comprehensive alternative.
Yeah, maybe even better than those traditional, often expensive courses.
That's the idea. So our mission here is to pull out the most impactful, practical tips from that discussion. We want to give you a clear roadmap for your English journey.
Think of it like getting access to, 2047 tutors right in your pocket.
Precisely. We're seeing real shifts in how people can master English without those hefty price tags.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Foundational stuff. Grammar, vocabulary. Where should someone even begin if they're aiming for fluency? What are those essential tools?
Well, for the basics, a really common starting point is Duolingo. It's free. It's quite fun, actually, and pretty good for building up that initial grammar, vocab, and listening practice.
Right, it's good for drilling things in.
Exactly. Drilling and consistent practice. But it doesn't always go super deep into the why behind grammar rules.
And that's often the tricky part, isn't it? The why. Now, most people know Grammarly just for spell checking emails, but it seems there's more to it for learners.
Oh, absolutely. Beyond just catching typos, Grammarly's real strength for learners is in those explanations. You click on a suggestion, and it doesn't just fix it, it tells you why. Like maybe it's subject-verb agreement or comma use.
Ah, so it turns error correction into a mini grammar lesson.
Exactly. It helps shift from just fixing to actually understanding.
Okay. And what about visual learners, or for those really sticky grammar points like tenses, past perfect versus past simple always seems to trip people up? Where can they get that clarity?
Yeah, for that, YouTube is fantastic. Channels like English with Lucy or BBC Learning English are great because they break down complex grammar visually. It makes those tricky concepts much easier to grasp than just reading a rule book.
Right, seeing it explained helps. So we've got a foundation, but, passive learning only gets you so far. People crave that interactive feel, like having a real tutor. How does AI step in there?
This is where conversational AI, especially something like ChatGPT, becomes incredibly powerful. It's not just a search engine. It's like an active learning partner.
How so?
Well, you can literally ask it things like, explain past perfect using simple examples, or quiz me on phrasal verbs and tell me where I went wrong. You get instant, personalized feedback.
That immediate feedback sounds great, but is there a danger of just letting the AI do the work? Just copying the better English without really learning?
That's a really critical point. And yeah, you need to be strategic. It's not just about asking, correct my sentence. You can go deeper. Ask it, look at my last few mistakes. What grammar rule am I consistently getting wrong?
Ah, okay, so using it for analysis, not just correction.
Exactly. Plus, it's amazing for role-playing. You can say, act as a barista, I want to order coffee,
Yeah.
and have a whole conversation. And the mobile app has voice input, which makes speaking practice feel much more natural.
Voice input, okay. That helps bridge the gap.
Definitely. And you can target specific things like practicing pronouns, ask for quizzes, ask for examples, really drill down.
And what about writing? How can it help improve writing skills beyond just grammar checks?
A really effective technique is to write something short every day,
Yeah.
maybe a journal entry, and then ask ChatGPT to rewrite this to sound more fluent and briefly explain the changes you made.
Ooh, I like that. Rewriting and explaining.
Yeah, it gives you a model answer and highlights your specific weak spots. And here's another interesting thing. Try explaining a grammar rule to ChatGPT.
Teaching the AI.
Sort of. The act of trying to articulate the rule clearly actually helps cement it in your own mind. It forces you to organize your understanding.
That's a clever learning hack. Okay, so writing, conversation practice. But pronunciation, that's often the biggest hurdle for confidence, right? Getting the sounds and intonation right. Are there specific tools for that?
Yeah, pronunciation can be tough. For that, Elsa Speak is really excellent. It listens to you speak, identifies the specific sounds, the phones you need to work on, and gives you exercises.
And it pinpoints the exact problem areas.
Exactly. It's very targeted. And it has a pretty decent free version, too.
Yeah.
Then there's also TalkPal AI, which is another one for speaking practice, more like talking to a tutor, though its free access is a bit more limited. And Speakify is another option that tries to correct you in real time.
Good to know there are dedicated tools. So we've got speaking covered, pronunciation getting refined. What about building that rich vocabulary you need for fluent expression?
Right, vocabulary. Memorize is a popular one. He uses video clips of native speakers, which is great for context, and employs spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition. Okay.
And then there's Anki. It's basically a smart flashcard app. You can download decks of common English words or, make your own flashcards based on words you encounter.
You mentioned spaced repetition again. Can you quickly explain what that is for anyone listening who hasn't heard the term? Why is it so effective?
Sure. Spaced repetition is basically a learning technique backed by science. The core idea is that the app shows you difficult words more often and words you know well less often. It schedules reviews at increasing intervals right before you're likely to forget them.
Ah, so it optimizes reviews for long-term memory?
Precisely. It helps move vocabulary from your short-term memory into your long-term memory much more efficiently than just cramming.
That makes sense. Are there other, maybe more creative ways to make vocabulary stick beyond apps?
Oh, definitely. Mnemonics can be really helpful. Little memory tricks, like for effect versus effect. Some people use A is for action, E is for end result.
Okay, little rhymes or phrases.
Exactly. Or image association, linking a word to a strong mental picture. Like for bark, picture both a dog barking and the bark on a tree. Helps remember multiple meanings. Another good one is creating word maps.
Word maps.
Yeah, you take a central word like travel, and then you brainstorm and link related words: trip, journey, luggage, destination, explore. It builds connections between words.
Those are great practical tips. Okay, so we've got study tools, vocab tricks. How do we weave English into everyday life? Make it more immersive.
Good question. For just understanding English out in the world, like reading signs or menus, apps like Talkout Translate or even Google Lens are super handy. Just point your phone camera.
Instant translation right there.
Yep. And don't underestimate simple text-to-speech. If you see a sentence online and you're not sure how it sounds, paste it into Google Translate and hit the speaker icon. Listen to the pronunciation and rhythm.
That's a really simple but effective way to get exposure to natural intonation. What about using things like movies or podcasts?
Absolutely. Tools like LinkQ lets you import content. You enjoy articles, podcasts, even Netflix shows, and learn vocabulary directly from them. You can click on unknown words, get definitions, and save them.
Learning from stuff you actually like.
Makes it much less of a chore. And for Netflix specifically, there's a Chrome extension called Language Reactor. It's brilliant. It shows subtitles in both English and your native language, side by side.
Oh, dual subtitles. That sounds incredibly helpful.
It really is. And it can even help you export new words you find directly into Anki flashcards.
Nice integration. Okay, so we have all these amazing tools, AI, tutors, vocab builders, immersion aids, but that fear of actually speaking can still be paralyzing for many learners. How do they push past that?
Yeah, that speaking anxiety is real. A very simple, low-pressure starting point is just mirror speaking. Talk to yourself in the mirror every day. Describe your day, practice phrases. It feels awkward at first, but it builds muscle memory and confidence without any judgment.
Just getting used to the sound of your own voice in English.
Exactly. Then when you feel a bit more ready, you can try apps like HelloTalk or Tandem. They connect you with other learners and native speakers for language exchange.
Are those free?
Mostly free, yeah. There are premium options, but the core functionality of finding language partners is free. And the communities are usually very supportive. It's practice with real people, but often with others who are also learning.
That sounds like a good stepping stone. So we've covered a ton of ground tools, techniques, strategies, but how does someone realistically organize all this? How do you structure learning to make consistent progress without getting overwhelmed?
Structure is key to avoid burnout. One effective way is to dedicate specific days to specific skills. Maybe 2 days for grammar, 2 for vocabulary building, 1 focused purely on listening and speaking practice, 1 for writing.
At a day off.
Absolutely. A day for rest or just light review is crucial. And for really internalizing things like tenses, try writing mini stories. Pick a verb like eat and write a super short, maybe 4-line story in the present simple, then past simple, future simple, present perfect. Using that same verb, it really drills the patterns.
That's a concrete exercise. What about staying motivated, especially when progress feels slow? Consistency is always hard.
It is. Beyond the schedule, consistent review is vital. Keep a small notebook or maybe a page in Notion or Evernote just for new words and phrases, and look at it every single night. Even just 5 minutes makes a huge difference in stopping you from forgetting.
Just that quick reinforcement.
Yes. And finally, embrace full immersion as much as possible. Don't just study English. Try to live in it a bit. Change your phone language to English. Follow English-speaking accounts on social media. Listen to English music, even if you don't understand everything at first.
Make it part of your environment.
Exactly. The more you surround yourself with it, the more natural it becomes.
It really sounds like connecting all these dots, the resources available now are just incredible.
They really are. When you combine these AI tools, the smart strategies, the immersion techniques, you essentially have access to personalized 24/7 tutoring tailored to exactly what you need. It's empowering.
So the big takeaway for you listening is what?
It's that mastering English fluency isn't necessarily about enrolling in the most expensive course anymore. It's about being smart, leveraging these amazing, often free or low-cost resources, and weaving practice strategically into your daily life. The opportunity is genuinely there for the taking.
Right. The power is really in your hands or on your phone and computer. So here's a final thought to leave you with. How can you take just one or two of the tools and strategies we've talked about today and apply them this week to shift your English learning from passive absorption to active, confident expression?